And look at this. Look at this. This looks absolutely amazing. And guess what? We did not use Silhouette Studio to get this done. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Patrice, and today we are going to dive right into today's video. Today we will be using Leonardo Design Studio to design this template. Now, usually I use Silhouette Studio, but today we had a request from one of you to use Rhinestone font inside of Leonardo Design Studio and create a template. And y'all, this is what we created, and I absolutely love how this turned out. So let's head into the software and let me show you how we get this done. All right, y'all, so now we're inside of Creative Fabrica, and we are going to download a few Rhinestone fonts. Okay, these are not Rhinestone SVGs, but these are actual OTF or TTF Rhinestone fonts that you'll be able to use in multiple programs. So at the top, we're just going to head into the search bar and type in Rhinestone fonts. Okay, so here are a few that popped up. Some of these are just SVG files. As you see here, it's labeled AI, EPS, SVG. Those are simply graphics. They're not necessarily Rhinestone fonts that you can type into the software. Okay, so you'll just piece those together. What we're going to pull up is an actual Rhinestone font. And here is one, the Forever font. And we also have School, the School font. There are a few fonts here that we can actually download and open up into several other programs. Okay, so we're going to download the bold font, and we're also going to download one of the cursive fonts as well. But what I want you all to see is that with this particular font, you need to size it correctly. Okay, and so you'll be able to download the instructions for the font. So when you type it into your software, today we're going to be using the Siser Leonardo Design Studio software. We are going to have to convert the point value of the font to inches. Okay, so if you want to have an SS6 design, you need to have it set at a 240 point value, SS6 189 point value. Now, depending on the font, it will change. It's not always the same. So let's look at another font that we're going to use. We're going to use the splashed font right here. So here, if we want to do, like, this is an SS10, it says that it needs to be at a 245 point value. So we're going to go into a website where we'll be able to convert points to inches. Okay, but that's very important for sizing your fonts. So we're just going to go ahead and click download. When you download it, you also need to open it up, and you will then need to download it and install it. This is already downloaded and installed on my computer, so I don't need to do that again. All right, guys, so for the first font that we need to verify the inch size, we're going to be using the Cursiva Rhinestone template TTF font. And for it to be sized correctly, we need to make sure that it's at a 456 point value. But inside of Leonardo Design Studio, we need to know what this is in inches. So let's head over to the Convert Point to Inch website. Well, this is just a unit converters website. The website is unitconverters.com. And so we are going to type in the point value. The point value for the SS6 design or SS6 rhinestones is 456. Okay. And so now that we have that inputted into the field, we then see that we need to make that size font 6 point 333 inches inside of Leonardo Design Studio. Okay, so let's go ahead and head into Leonardo Design Studio and begin designing our text design. All right, guys, so now we're inside of Leonardo Design Studio, and this is the design software for the Siser Juliet or the Siser Romeo. And we are going to begin by inputting text. And you can find that located at the bottom panel or toolbar. And so this is how the text box will appear. We're going to type in our first word will be thankful. And the font that we're going to use is the RS01 Cursiva that we downloaded. Here it is right here. And remember when we converted the text from 456, we converted the point value to inches, and that let us know that we need to input 6 point a lot of threes. It was about 10 threes that we had to do. Okay, and so we're going to click OK. All right, and so this is how it appeared. Okay, if you want to see the size, this is very important. This is why sizing it correctly is important, because your holes are not going to cut out the way that they need to cut out, and they will be very, very small. Okay, so let's just go back to the text box again. I'm going to type in one right here, and you guys will have a comparison to see. So this is the correct size. This is not the correct size. And you don't really want to stretch it out or anything like that. You don't want to do that, okay? So you want to do it the correct way. And right now, this is what we have. All of the letters are together. Now we can go ahead and we can break this apart. And it's showing that this is going to be 11.118 inches wide by 4.747 inches high. So if we break this apart, I'm just going to do a right click. We're going to head down to paths, and then I am going to select break paths. Okay, this is going to release all of those rhinestones. I'm going to select break paths, and once I did that, if you notice, you will see here where this says that there are 407 items, meaning there are 407 rhinestone dots or holes in this particular area. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure that these holes are the correct size. So I'm going to click on one, and if you notice over here on the right, this is letting me know that this is a 0.13 by 0.13, and this is a good size. So anytime you're doing these types of designs using rhinestone fonts, you want to make sure that your rhinestones are the correct size. And if you're doing an SS10 design, I would say 0.13 to a 0.135 is perfect for SS10 rhinestones. Okay, so I'm just actually going to move the word or parts of the word together a little bit closer. Okay, so I'm just going to select all of these. I do want to make sure that they're all selected before I move, because if I start moving, some aren't selected. Okay, so I want to make sure that they're all selected. So I might start right here. That will get them all. And then I just kind of want to move this over just a little bit. Like, I don't want them to touch, but I do want it to, you know, look more cursive. So I'm just going to just move it over just a little bit, maybe about right there, because you don't want it to touch. All right, so I zoomed in a little bit closer so that we could see it a lot better. And it looks like one of these stones, or maybe two of them, they're touching. And we don't really want touching rhinestones, but it looks like they are together. So if you see those two, those are together. So when it's time to cut, we will have a little bit of overlapping rhinestones right here. All right. Now what I could do is I could kind of move these out of the way so that they don't cut, and then I could create more rhinestones in its place. And so let's go ahead and do that. So we could just make sure that we don't have overlapping rhinestones. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete these two that were overlapping. We're going to select them. I'm going to select delete, and then I'm going to replace the rhinestones. I'm going to hold down my option key. If you have a PC, you would just hold down your alt key, but I'm using a MacBook, so I'm going to hold down the option key, and then I'm going to take my cursor. If you notice, there's a green highlight around that particular circle, and I am just going to drag it over to make a copy. I'm going to go ahead and make another copy as well, right there. Okay, and that one's still touching a little bit, but I'll go ahead and move it over just a tad, and we can move that inner one over as well. Okay, so you can add circles to this area if you would like to. So I'm also going to just select some of this T, because I do want this T to be a little bit closer. Remember, it was almost 11 and a quarter inches wide. I don't necessarily want it to be that wide. So I'm just going to go ahead and select some of the extra rhinestones here, so I could go ahead and move the T over. So I have all of the T selected, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring it a little bit closer to the H. I'm going to bring it just a little closer to the H. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit, and that looks good. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. I'm going to select all of this right now, and it's telling me that it's 10.728 inches wide. So we did reduce the width of it. All right, now if you wanted to, you could go ahead and possibly move that, the first part of the word, over a little more also here, also that it kind of like really looks cursive, right? All right, so that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select all of these stones, and then I'm going to right click, and then we are going to combine paths, or we're going to weld it. I'm just going to select combine paths. So now that we did that, all of these will be back together again. Okay, so let's change this color. We'll change this to red. I'm going to select apply, and that's going to be the first part. All right, so then we're going to do, let's do thankful and loved. Or let's see what other text we want to put here. We're going to use another font. All right, guys. So now we're ready to type our next word, and I'm going to open up the text box, and our next word is going to be loved, and we are going to use the modern font. So that's the RS04AW modern font, and I am going to put in the font size. So let's head over to the website to convert it again. All right, so for the SS10 version, this is going to be 240 points, and this is our inch value that we will need to place into Leonardo Design Studio. All right, so we're going to put our 3 here. So we're going to have 3 and then 10 threes. And now we're going to click apply. And now this has come in at the size that we need it to be. And I'm actually going to change that color to, let's change it to this teal color and apply. All right, so we're going to ungroup this too, but I'm going to leave thankful intact. And what I want to do is I want to kind of remove some of the rhinestones where it's overlapping with the word thankful. So we're going to click on love. I'm going to right click, and then we are going to break paths. So we're going to scroll down to paths. We are then going to scroll over, and we're going to select break paths. Now that that is done, if you look closely, it says that we need about 598 stones for this word. And I'm just going to click out of there, and I'm going to select one of the rhinestones, and that confirms that this is a good size for our SS10 10 rhinestones. Now you can go ahead and move some of those stones over if you like. I'm going to select the entire design and see how wide it is. And right now, with it being the way that it is, it's saying that it's 11.291 inches wide. So what I might do is I might actually select some of the letters if I can. We're going to move the word thankful up a little bit because it is touching the word loved. And I might actually just kind of choose to move some of these over, like the letter. If you wanted to do something a little funky, you could even tilt it to go a certain way. If you want to make it kind of, fun, you can, but I'm not going to tilt it today. And then I just want to kind of make some of these a little bit closer. All right. So I know that some of these are not touching, or they're touching. So I'm going to go ahead, move this over just a little. And then I'd also move the D over to the left. But when you do it, you want to make sure you grab all of the stones, and it looks like we have them all. All right, so that reduced the width a little bit for us. So I did want to do that. All right, so we have everything set up pretty much how we want it to be. Okay, so everything is coming together how we want it to be. And I'm just going to bring our word thankful back down. And let's see what size this is looking like. It's a little less than 11 inches. I'm going to bring it over just a little bit because thankful is kind of long. Okay, so now we have it at a 10.842. So what I want to do next is I want to remove any overlapping rhinestones. And so I'm just going to make sure that the word thankful is sent to the back. And I'm just right clicking, opening up our drop down menu, going to order, and I'm going to click send to back. And then I'm going to zoom in because we have a little bit of rhinestones to delete. All right, so now I'm just going to select these rhinestones here, and we're going to begin deleting them. Make sure you're selecting the rhinestones that you want to get rid of. And I'm going to create a slight offset. Okay, y'all, so these are all set, and remember, these are all individual stones still. So I want to head over to the properties panel, and we're going to select the shapes by color. So I'm going to click onto, there's like 3 dots with a question mark next to the eyedropper tool or color picker tool. So we're going to open that up, and now here are all the colors that we have on the screen. We're going to select the teal. I'm going to double click it, or you can click accept. But as you see, all of the teal rhinestones are in a bounding box right now. I'm going to right click, and then I am going to head down to paths, and I am going to select combine paths. All right, so this is looking pretty good so far. And now we're going to add one more piece of text. And for this text, we're going to use the splashed text. And this is just simply going to say, and blessed. So let's open up our text, and we're going to say, and I'm going to use the ampersand, and we're going to say blessed. And I am going to select the splashed font. So that's the RS08AW splashed, and we need to input the correct font size. All right, so we're back at unitconverters.net, and we are going to input 245 because that's the point value for the splashed font for SS10. Remember, each font is different. Okay, so now we're going to select convert, and this is what we have: 3.402, a whole bunch of sevens and 8. All right, so let's get ready to put this in. All right, guys, so now we're going to do 3.402, 777, 777, 8, and now we're going to click apply. All right, and so it's here somewhere. We're going to bring it down, and now we're just going to change that color so we can have a little bit of, different colors. We don't necessarily need the same color. Let's go with this purple. All right, I'm going to click apply. All right, right now this is about 10.375 inches wide, and this is what we have so far. I'm going to zoom out. All right, and so this is what we've made so far. Now I am going to go ahead and break this font apart. So we're going to right click, and I am just going to say break paths. And so we're going to select one of the stones. And if you see the stone, this particular stone is saying that it's 0.129. It's not giving me the 0.13 that it should. This should be fine for us to brush them in, but you really do want it to be a 0.13, 0.13, okay? But we'll see. If it's that slight of a difference, we're still going to cut this out and see if our SS10 rhinestones will brush into it okay. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of these rhinestones and pull it down, and I'm going to show you guys, like, if you want to create like something very small within like a heart or something. I think I've used a heart before in my designs, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a heart. So I'm going to select onto the shapes, select the heart. I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller. And there is something else I kind of want to do. I want to put a comma after the word thankful because a comma should go there. So let's see what we can do. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead, reduce this a little bit. We're going to change this color to, let's change it to yellow. All right, guys, so I'm just going to take this circle, bring it over here. We're going to zoom in a little bit more so we can see our heart better. I didn't really want any, nothing too big. So here we have our heart, and we're actually going to just place rhinestones around the heart. Now, if it's something that you want to do, that you want to fill in, you can do that too. But this will take quite a bit of time if you have larger designs. Leonardo Design Studio, from what I've heard, will be coming out with their own rhinestone feature, but we have to wait until it arrives. Until then, you can create you your own rhinestone templates like this, if this is the only software you have. I think I'm going to make our heart a little bit longer. So here I'm just holding down my option key and making a duplicate of each circle. So you hold down your option key or your alt key if you have a PC, and you literally just drag your mouse on top of it and it will create a duplicate for you. Let's move that over a bit. We're going to bring our heart here a little bit to the center, and that's going to be our heart for now. All right, kind of looks hearty, kind of doesn't, but it'll be a heart for today. All right, so now I'm just going to take that, I'm going to delete that, and then I'm actually going to select our hearts, and we're going to right click, and then we're going to click combine paths. Now that we have the heart done, I can go ahead and make duplicate copies of the heart. So I'm holding down my option key and I'm just dragging over. Now, if you want to make a duplicate, you can right click and then you can have that. All right, so Next, I want to go ahead and kind of make like a little comma. So I should have did this when I typed the text in, but it's fine. I'm just going to bring these down a bit here, just to create a comma next to the word thankful. All right, so I'm going to select that. We're going to click right click and we're going to group it together. All right, let's go ahead and minimize our screen and zoom out. All right, so now that we have this group, I'm just going to go ahead and bring it right here next to the word thankful. And I'm actually going to change the color of it to the same color as thankful. Oh, got the white. So let me click here and there's our color right there. So now it's the same color. I am then going to select the word thankful and the comma, and we're going to right click and I am going to combine the paths. Okay. And then next we're going to select, I'm going to move these hearts out of the way. Let's select these. I'm just going to move those out of the way for now. And then we're going to select the ampersand and blessed. And I am going to right click and we're going to select paths. And we are then going to select combine paths. So now that's together. All right, so for our hearts, I am just going to actually change that to teal. Now, the way that I'm doing it now, this can be cut in different parts based off of the colors, but I'm actually going to just cut all of this together. I'm not going to worry about cutting it in separate parts, but because we have it like this, we can totally do it in separate parts. All right, so here we go. And I'm going to select all of those hearts and we're going to right click and I'm going to click paths and we're going to select combine paths. Okay. And we are all done. Now I could put a period right there, but I think I'm going to just freehand that. Even though I think the and sign right here, I don't really like the and sign. So we're going to actually right click onto there and I am going to break the path again. We're going to break the path. And then I'm going to select that ampersand and I'm going to actually move it a little bit closer to the word bless. And then we're going to kind of move, we're going to select all of that again. You could use a different font for the ampersand if you want, but for this, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to right click. I'm going to go to paths and we're going to combine paths again. And then I'm going to just select all of that. We're going to kind of move it over a little bit more under loved, a little more centered. And then we're going to place our hearts right here. All right. So this is our design that we made from Rhinestone fonts on Creative Fabrica. I could cut each color out individually, but for this particular cut, I want it all cut together. So we're just going to select all of the design and we're going to just turn it all black. All right. So now let's click send design. And if you notice, it's a width of 10.842 by 9 inches high. This is what the design will look like. The only problem that we may have is the word thankful. So I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to click cancel. We're going to go back because I really don't, I want it to cut out on the same mat, but I don't want it to cut like this because I am going to use a different color. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit. It's all going to still cut out on the same mat. So we're going to move it up a little bit, like we're going to break it apart some. Okay, so I'm going to take this here. We're going to move this down a little bit. Then we're going to move the word blessed, and blessed is going to go right here. and mugged is going to go right here. We click send design. Now we have everything broken up, and we're going to get ready to send this to our machine. Okay, so before we head over to our cutter, I just wanted to show you all how you could go about saving this with your Leonardo Design Space software. If you have the Pro Edition, you will be able to export this design outside of the software and open it up in another program. So here I'm just piecing the design back together, and I'm changing the colors back to what they were originally so that we can get ready to save this as an SVG file. Having Leonardo Design Studio, you will be able to, if you have the Pro version, you will be able to save this as an SVG file. You can also export artwork as a PNG file or a PDF file and upload it into other design softwares. So I'm just going through the different steps here to show that you can actually use this with other cutters, even if you design it inside of Siser's Leonardo Design Studio software. Okay, so right now I'm just making sure the sizing is correct. You always want to make sure you know what the size of your design is. We're going to open this up inside of Cricut Design Space, and we will be able to cut this with any one of our Cricut cutting machines, even though we designed it inside of Leonardo Design Studio, because we have the Pro Edition and we're able to export it as a SVG file. So this is what we have. I want to make sure the sizing is correct. The sizing looks good. So I just want to show you all that. Now we're going to head to the cutter. All right, guys. So now we have our flock, and we will be using the Siser Romeo, and this is going to be going through the machine matless. So we're just going to place the material inside of or underneath the cutter and get this cut. However, the first thing that we need to do is we need to set our cut settings. And to do that, we're just going to hit cut settings on the screen. I am going to adjust the cut speed to 13. We're going to have it at the max speed. And for force, we're going to use a force of 40. All right, so these are custom settings. They do have settings for certain materials, certain Siser brand materials listed within the machine. However, this is not a Siser material, and it is rhinestone flock. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to place this in the machine. And to place it in, we're just going to slide this underneath. Our pinch wheels are up already, and I'm aligning it over on the side using the guide. So here is our guide right there, and you just want to make sure that it's straight. And this can be easily done like that. And now we're going to lower the pinch wheels. I'm going to use our screen to adjust the placement of the material underneath the blade. All right, so the proper placement, you want this to be placed right here in the top left corner, or the bottom left corner, however you're looking at it, you want it to be placed right here. All right, so let's get ready to click send on our computer. All right, guys, and this started cutting at 7:32, so we'll see how long this actually takes to cut the entire design. All right, guys, so this finished at 7:44, so this finished within 12 minutes. And we're just going to release it, and we're going to see how it cut. All right, so let's go ahead and peel it back so that we can see how it cut. I'm just going to kind of pull it down. All right, so for the most part, all of the rhinestones stayed behind except a few right here in the S. But everything else seemed to have cut beautifully. Alright guys, so now we're going to place our template onto this chopping mat. You can get these chopping mats from Amazon or even from Dollar Tree. And this is just to help make it long lasting. Alright y'all, so we're just going to place the remaining parts of the template onto the chopping mat. It might be easier for you to space them out a little bit more, but I'm fine with doing it this way. So the colors for today that we will be using, we are going to use Hyacinth, and this is an SS10 stone. I get my stones from the baby's booty. She has a buy-in, and she also has a retail site where you can buy them now. You don't have to wait for the buy-in. And her website again is thebabiesbooty.com. So here I'm just brushing in the rhinestones. I'm trying to go in a circular motion to make sure that they're fitting in, and y'all, they are fitting in nicely into this template. I did not have a hard time getting these brushed in. Next, we're just going to place a piece of KTM mask on top, and we're going to remove the rhinestones with the KTM mask. I get the flock and KTM mask from Heat Transfer Warehouse. So I had to flip it over to the back because it was giving me a little hard time. This new flock is a little stringy, and it's extra sticky, and sometimes the glue gets in between the holes, and it makes it a little difficult to remove the rhinestones from those holes. All right, so we're just going to continue brushing in the remaining parts of our design. We ended up using the colors of Candy Apple, and we also used Crystal AB to complete the color selection for this design. All right, y'all, so now we're under the heat press, and we are going to, of course, lint roll our shirt first, and we are definitely going to pre-press this for a few seconds. Today, I will be pressing this at 325 degrees for 25 seconds. However, there are instructions on the Baby's Booty's website and on her containers for proper pressing times for her rhinestones. All right, so we're a little bit closer now, and we already pressed the word thankful. Next, we're going to get ready to layer the word loved, and we're just making sure that it fits where it's supposed to, and it's already looking really good. This is honestly the first time that I've created an actual template. I've created a template using rhinestone fonts already before, but nothing like this where I use multiple fonts, and I'm actually pretty pleased with how it's looking, how it's turning out. Okay, and so now we just have one more press, and we're going to press the row of hearts underneath the word blessed. Alright, so here is our simple text shirt that we made, and I think that it looks pretty good. All right, y'all, so we are all done with making a rhinestone template inside of Leonardo Design Studio, and we pressed the shirt, and it looks absolutely amazing. If you are interested in this template, a link will be listed below to the Google Drive so that you can download it. It's available now to download for free. I'm not sure how long I will have it available for free, but y'all, I also love the fact that we were able to export this out of Leonardo Design Studio. I can now cut this inside or with my Cricut. I can open it up in Cricut Design Space and cut this with one of my Cricut machines. I can cut this with my SAWGRASS Solo, and I absolutely love that. Now, we did have a little bit of a situation. Well, it really wasn't a situation. I thought it might be where the rhinestone size for the word bless was a little smaller. It was a 0.129 and not a 0.13 as usually recommended for SS10 rhinestones. But y'all, these SS10 rhinestones brushed in beautifully. You could not tell that it was slightly off at all, and I love how this turned out. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to head over to Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok and join the Craftable Things communities there as well. But that's it for today, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.